Why does a spider even want to live way down here? Gnats don't even come down here. We're like a mile beneath the earth. We got like 6 books, right? I'm trying to remember about the average number of hours that we were able to tick off, but it really, really depended on the number of pages. Also, I don't know what's up with that endless book. But if we read through them and they happen to be as long as Moby Dick. Moby Dick was like 5 or 6 hours, right? Or maybe more. If even 2 of those would get us to the point where we could go back up. I mean, if we're able to get to what would seem like the end tonight, then I'll just keep playing until we get through it. Which, I mean, if we're finishing 200 days early, I'll consider that a success. Oh, he finally turns. I guess we turned when we came back the other way. But if you think about it, from the last moment we turned up at the very, very top, he's only turned 3 times in the last, like, 30 minutes. And there's the 4th turn. I think the more I look at him, the more I see Larry David. Larry David after like a terrible explosion, and he doesn't know what to think, and he's just wandering. He's in shock. Larry David in shock. That's what I see. After actually measuring one of the walks, and I know previously in the stream I mentioned that I try not to track the time because I watch Pot Never Boils, and I tracked the time this time just because we have to calculate our walk back. But after doing that, it really makes me put into perspective like how much time we spent just walking back and forth, which has been cathartic in a way, but also strangely enough, it kind of flies in the face of the whole time flies when you're having fun. Though, I wouldn't say we're not having fun. What I'd say, though, is that it's more of a time flies when you're preoccupied kind of thing. And I find it really interesting that we're able to keep ourselves preoccupied through a lot of this. I mean, not that it's impossible to stare at a screen and talk about stuff, but... I shouldn't say that I find it fascinating that we're able to, so much as I find it fascinating that it's come to me as easily as it has. That being said, I could only do something like this every so often. Ever so often. I don't think we'll immediately be playing a second run of The Longing. It's because I am eager to get back into a more fast-paced game before too long, but this is something that I'm proud to say that we've experienced. I'm still mad at the staircase in the next room, eating up so much of our time last week. I swear the sound makes it seem like something's here. And if we end up finishing the game without finding anything here, I'm still going to be watching the subreddit and the Steam community to find out if something else is discovered here that we missed. Oh, he doesn't know about the Switch. That was the one thing that drove me so nuts that I searched for it first. That's what made me break. That's what made me risk spoilers. I was like, if I spend more than an hour on a puzzle, I'm gonna try to figure it out. But it didn't seem like anybody else had seen anything yet. So it could just be a fluke, could just be an audio fragment. But there was that moment where we just stood in place and it made the sound over and over again, and that's when I knew that I found something in my heart of hearts. We're at 15:30. We'll have been walking back for 33 minutes. It's interesting, like, do that walk 5 times. 5 or 6 times, and it's Lord of the Rings. Fellowship of the Ring director's cut. Like, what is this place, right? The guys going down into the mines, they couldn't get into the door because the door was closed, and it took me a while to open it. Did they find the door? Did they try to get into the door? They were taking the crystals that were just outside the door. I wonder if the king was at all aware of the people from the mines coming, and is that why he wanted to sleep and charge up his power to end the world? Most of the things that I got using a tool of the miners. So that's interesting too. The Matic is really the only thing that we have. Are we like Icarus? Is it Icarus that stole fire? Or no, he flew too close to the sun with wax wings. So who stole fire from the gods? Prometheus. Are we like Prometheus? Did we go and steal the Matic from the men? And the Matic is what granted us our freedom, because with it we were able to uncover clues and knowledge and warmth. He's still down here sleeping. He doesn't know what we've been doing. Like his crown connecting to the earth. Is he able to just like shake the earth? Coal falls from the ceiling a lot more often than you would think it really would in a cave. Awaken the king. Let's just go ahead and wake him up. We will not wake up the king. All right. So here's the giant crystal that we got. Can I grab it? It's in front of my bookshelf. Let me grab it. Stop that. Don't grab that one over and over again. There we go. It glows. We're passing time 17 times without a fire. Can we hear the music from it? There's like 2 musical tracks playing. He's smiling. He doesn't normally smile in here, does he? Like, he smiles when he sits down, but... Are you really happy? I want to put this near our chair so we can hear it while we're reading. Thoughts? I like to explore the caves, but I feel the presence of great darkness somewhere. We found the darkness, we overcame it. I've explored every part of the cave. My dream would be to find a book that never ends. Well, let's see if we can read it. Never-ending notebook and a bunch of Monte Cristo. Is that what we got? Dear reader, this is a never-ending book. It is as long as your own words that you put into it. 1 page. Your own words that you put into it. Okay, let's see how far Monte Cristo will get us. We had 1 and 2 already. 400, 500, 400, 700. Yes, let's go. So we want to get to 209, 1430. Maybe a little bit further than that. Maybe 209.14. And then walk back. Oh, this is doing the trick. Reading all night at 6 o'clock in the morning already. We may never read all of these books if we get out. Monte Cristo 4. All right. So about 60 more pages once the lag spike stops. There we go. There's 1430. How time flies. I should be reading more. Alright, 209.13. Let's go. Time's passing by too fast in here. Normally not a bad thing. Oh, pay this place a visit. So it took us about 35 minutes. So by the time we get there, it's going to be 13:20, which is 10 hours and 40 minutes into the new day. Could have been, yeah, more than 10 hours. So the mushroom should have grown. Fingers crossed. Now, it's kind of wearing at me a little bit. Maybe we could find something else to read about for just a bit while we're on our way back. Rockstar pledges 5% of Red Dead and GTA Online revenue to fight COVID-19. Terraria has sold over 30 million copies across all platforms. Where does that put it on the list of most sold games? Wikipedia has a list. And I checked it a while back. Minecraft has been at the top for a while. Minecraft more than doubled Wii Sports. Grand Theft Auto 5 is up there. So Minecraft is number one with 180 million. And Grand Theft Auto 5, 120 million. Wii Sports, 82 million, 0.8. PUBG, 60 million. The original Super Mario Brothers, 48.2 million. Pokemon, original, red, green, blue, yellow, 47.5 million. Wii Fit Plus, 43 million. Mario Kart Wii, 37 million. That's not even the best Mario Kart. Tetris, 35 million. Wii Sports Resort, 33 million. Mario Kart 8, 31 million. New Super Mario Brothers, 30 million. Terraria, 13th, with 30.3 million. Nice. Bundled with a console, yes. What did it get bundled with? Most of these at the top have been bundled with something. Even Minecraft says, yes, it's been bundled with a console. Oh, what did Terraria get bundled with? Terraria bundle. Probably shouldn't cough into my hand, but I am home. I will wash my hands momentarily. All Terraria bundle gives me is an item called Bundle of Balloons. Oh well. Probably got like a digital code for it or something. Skyrim is up there at 15, 30 million copies. Diablo 3, Pokemon Gold. Red Dead Redemption 2 had 29 million. And followed by Duck Hunt with 28 million. It's the 19th most sold game. But it was attached. It was attached to Mario Brothers. Okay, enough of that. What other headlines do we have today? Activision has dished out over 50,000 permabans in Call of Duty Warzone. What do you have? People cheating? Let's see. Zero tolerance policy when dealing with cheaters, and maintaining a level and fair playing field for everyone is of its highest priority. 30 million players in just over 3 weeks. Doesn't really say what the cheats. Aimbots, wall hacks, and more. Oh, okay. Well then, don't cheat. Steam's Game Festival, the real numbers. It was a little confusing when that happened in December. A lot of graphs if you're interested. It's on Gamma Sutra. Half-Life Alyx. Super fun. I love it. I need to pick it back up and finish it. Well, I don't know how long the game is. I like assume that a VR game's not going to be that long. I put it like an hour and a half to 2 hours into it. It could be like really long for all I know. Give players a place to feel cozy and they'll keep coming back. They have a picture of Slime Rancher, but that's how I feel right now with Animal Crossing. COVID-19 preventing Bethesda from hosting digital E3 showcase. Bethesda won't be hosting a digital conference in June to replace its canceled E3 showcase, which was scrapped along with the rest of E3 in March as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The company's vice president of global marketing, Pete Hines, said the company is facing many challenges due to COVID-19, and as such won't be putting together an online presentation. Given the many challenges we're facing due to the pandemic, we will not host a digital showcase in June. We have lots of exciting things to share about our games and look forward to telling you more in the coming months. The news comes a day after Bethesda and id Software axed their annual QuakeCon due to the logistical challenges and uncertainties presented by COVID-19. Although Bethesda will be ducking E3 2020, other notable companies like Ubisoft and Microsoft have committed to hosting digital events during the summer. I feel like from what I've seen of Bethesda, because I saw the documentary about their office, right? They all work in the office. They all work very close. I would hope that they're not the kind of development studio that like doesn't trust people to work from home, because it seems like an industry where it shouldn't be that hard to figure out a remote option. Get a job. Firehose Games is hiring a progression and monetization designer. Oh, that just sounds slimy. Progression, fine. Monetization designer. Don't miss the Valkyrie profile-inspired design of Indivisible. They're still talking about Indivisible? Didn't the demo for that come out like years ago? Did they only just now release the full game? Interesting. I feel like I played the demo for that like several years ago. In fact, I feel like I saw Game Grumps play it first. Because Aaron was friends with the artist or something. October 15th, 2015. So it was over 4 years ago. It was like 4.5 years ago that they played the demo. I mean, sometimes games take time. Niantic acquires 6D AI to help map out the entire world for AR. Interesting. Using forgiveness mechanics to design better games. It looks like GDC was going to have a lot of interesting panels. In this 2020 GDC virtual talk, Butterscotch Shenanigans Seth Koster lifts the veil around forgiveness mechanics, game systems that allow the player to be off in their inputs but still get the results they want. Koster deconstructed some common examples of such systems and offered some fresh perspective on why they're valuable and what game designers can do to implement them in ways that support the player without disrupting their experience. It was a great talk, and you can watch it completely free on the official GDC YouTube channel. In addition to this presentation, the GDC Vault and its accompanying YouTube channel offers numerous other free videos, audio recordings, and slides from many of the recent Game Developers Conference events. That's interesting. I'm going to have to bookmark that for later. Because, yeah, with GDC being canceled, it'll be really interesting to see some of the presentations for things that would have gone on there. Good to know. Differentiating narratives using the selfish story model. Eidos Montreal hosting Deus Ex flash sale to help those affected by COVID-19. Cyberpunk dev CD Projekt Red donates $950,000 to help fight COVID-19. Okay, I mean, I guess if they've got it. Showcasing on Steam's Game Festival the real numbers. That's the same thing that was linked at the top. Understanding the improved out parameters in Unity C#. Kojima Productions working remotely after employee diagnosed with COVID-19. Well, they should have been working remotely in the first place. Then again, how old is that article? Two days? They should have been working remotely already. Maybe these are the same. Might be one of the last times we hear this music if we get out. Star Citizen dev Cloud Imperium raises $17.25 million in funding. Does it just keep going up? Star Citizen developer Cloud Imperium has raised an additional $17.25 million in funding from existing investors. Multiple investors, including the Cater Family Office, Snoot Entertainment, and ITG Investment, all exercised a one-time option to purchase further shares in the company at a discounted price. The Calder family were also involved in the $46 million private investment round that took place at the end of 2018, with those funds having been used to support the development and marketing of Star Citizen. First off, before I continue, marketing? I have only heard of Star Citizen from people who have told me about the fact that it was kickstarted and funded by people, and it's the most kickstarted game ever. I've never seen any marketing for it. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm not in their demographic. Maybe I'm not being fed their ads, but I've never seen any marketing for this multi-million-dollar game. And its single-player spin-off, Squadron 42. Since development on Star Citizen began in 2011, so we're coming up on 10 years, Cloud Imperium has raised over $275 million to finance the project through public and private crowdfunding initiatives. The multiplayer sci-fi title was originally due to launch in 2014, 6 years ago, but a perpetually expanding roadmap means the game is still only available in alpha form. This can't end well. Sure, they can keep trickling things out, but how? For this long? Like, you go more than 5 years and you've got to completely retool your engine because there's a whole new, like, world of possibilities out there with home PCs. Like, over $250 million has been raised for this game, and it's not Grand Theft Auto. I feel like I've got to check it out just to see like what all the fuss is about. Do you have to be a donor in order to even play though? Like, it just seems insane. Let's see. Future shuts down official Xbox magazine after almost 2 decades. That's sad. But magazines are not selling anymore, I'm sure. Game industry backs Play a Part Together campaign to slow the spread of COVID-19. That's a must. I really hope he can climb the mushroom. Please don't tell me we've left it squishy. I would love to be able to figure out this puzzle today. Yes! Don't miss what it took to port Resident Evil 2 to the N64. I always wondered how hard that was. Yeah, this will be a good little read. Postmortem, Angel Studios Resident Evil 2, N64 version. Is this from July 28th, 2000? Did they dig this out of like the archives? It's almost 20 years old. The game itself came out in 1997? 1999. The article starts with, in October 1997, 2 employees at Angel Studios posted a message to themselves on a wall. We will release a game on September 1st, 1999 that people will love. We will know they love it because by January 1st, 2000, it will have sold 2 million copies. Shortly after, Capcom chose Angel Studios to port Resident Evil 2 to the Nintendo 64. Project director Chris Fodor, and lead programmer Jamie Bryant were charged with this task and began laying the groundwork and assembling the team. While they both had previous experience with the Nintendo 64, this ambitious and challenging project quickly illustrated that they didn't really know how the N64 worked. Sure, it's got a CPU and a geometry processor and a graphics chip and fire exits here, and there, but at exactly what altitude do the oxygen masks drop down, or do they have to be triggered manually by the pilot? In the next few months, the OS was rebuilt, vector units, yes, the N64 had a vector unit, emancipated, and the N64 charmed into revealing her secrets. The original Resident Evil 2 for the PlayStation spanned 2 CDs. We had to get it on a single cartridge. I remember owning that game, and the cartridge was heavy, so they must have loaded some other chips in it too. But it's just a port, right? In our hands, we had a classic game with excellent design, all the art done, and the AI tuned and in place. However, it was going to require some pretty clever programming to get it running on the N64. It was a task that the news groups, gaming websites, and perhaps even the publisher had doubts could be done. What went right? The work environment and team. Given that this was going to be a very technical project, it was critical that we had a strong and cohesive programming team. The project quickly ramped up as Alex Ehrath came on board, and then me shortly after in December 1998. Alex brought a wealth of experience, dedication, and hard work. Fresh out of college, I was handed the task of doing the full motion video. For details on how this feat was accomplished, check out my article, Mission Compressible, Achieving Full Motion Video on the Nintendo 64, in the upcoming September 2000 issue of Game Developer. So this is back in 2000. Chris Fodor and Jamie Bryant shared a joint leadership of sorts. Sometimes this led to too many cooks in the kitchen, but more often than not, they complemented each other and provided effective leadership through the project's duration. Kim Kamdar came on towards the end of the project, bringing a sense of serenity and calm, as well as his programming skills at just the right time. By this stage, we had Australia, Germany, England, Iran, and the US represented. You wouldn't have picked it, but this unusual mix had a level of synergy rarely found on many programming teams. We programmers had our desks arranged in a semicircle facing outward, but it hadn't started out that way. Initially, Chris had his own office, and Alex and Jamie sat quite a ways apart, staking out their own territory. However, a month into the project, we were way behind schedule. We needed to be on top of things and to communicate a lot more. We decided to set together. When I and later Ken arrived, they just enlarged the semicircle. A lot has been written about brain states and the zone, and as Jamie recalls, Alex would sometimes interrupt me with all my balls in the air to tell me some really stupid joke, but I guarantee that the time lost was nothing compared to the gain and efficiency of having everyone right there. At the beginning of the project, there are lots of questions that come up and decisions to be made. Everyone could listen in, even if they weren't initially part of the discussion. wondering. I actually haven't been looking over to see how far down the hall we are, but we'll see soon. Often someone would turn around and offer a pearl of wisdom or new insight that led to a better solution. By the middle of the project, we got better at not interrupting anyone deep in thought. In the end, I think we saved months. It crashed. Points, turns head. Oh yeah, that's the liquor bug. Don't press the B button when it's doing that. And I'll be checking in a fix in 10 minutes. The long hard hours forged a strong mutual trust among the group. It wasn't long before we were all working away on our own tasks without supervision. This allowed for flexible... Okay, so I'm enjoying reading this, but the reason I wanted to read it on stream was actually to talk about like some of the technical achievements that they had to overcome or accomplish in order to compress the game. This is a really interesting read. Let's see here. We also learned the value of writing code for the task at hand, not what the task might be in the future. I hope most programmers find this obvious, but many of us, including me at one time, have been lost in C++ land. There are many benefits to C++, but a lot of them just aren't viable for performance and size reasons on an aging console. It's very easy when writing object-oriented code to fall into the trap of trying to design even a reasonable system. Don't bother. Be prepared to rewrite everything. You might be able to rewrite some section of code 3 times faster than it would take you to design a perfect class hierarchy. The bottom line is that you shouldn't be attached to what you have. Be prepared to throw it away and try something else. That would be a rough part of working in on a team of programmers. With the vast amount of assets provided by the PlayStation version, it made much more sense to analyze each type of data, 2D sprites, collision data, and so on, and implement a pipeline that would then convert the PlayStation-specific assets into something we could read and use on the N64. Since this was a port, we could be sure that we would end up with all the pieces we needed if we simply batch converted them in their entirety rather than individually touching up each and every one of them by hand, and save enormous amounts of time this way. It took a few days to write the code that converted all the 2D sprites into a format we needed, but it would have taken an artist a very long time to touch up thousands of sprites by hand. Whenever possible, we emulated PlayStation-specific routines and hardware functions to achieve similar results on the N64, maximizing our reuse of the existing source code. Oh, there's 3 pages. What went wrong? Submission process to Nintendo, insufficient testing. Lack of follow-up by leads, not making audio a high enough priority. The MIDI conversion process. Despite these minor rants, RE2 on the N64 was a great success. While we didn't hit our lofty goal of 2 million copies by January 2000, we did deliver a faithful rendition of a great game to the N64, and even managed a few industry firsts and a couple of extras along the way. We managed to do this on time almost, and under budget, in spite of the large technical challenges thrown upon us, thanks largely to a great team, a detailed plan and schedule, and a lot of hard work. Budget $1 million, 9 full-time developers, 1 contractor, 12 months of development, release date November 1999. Notable technologies are proprietary N64 operating system and FMV compression. Total lines of code approximately 200,000. I was hoping that they would actually say how many units were sold, so we could look that up. It ended up selling, let's see. No, that's the original Resident Evil. The wiki goes into detail about the N64 version. I don't know if it shows how many units. Shame. The remake has already sold over 5 million. Interestingly, the PlayStation version had sold some 4.96 million in 21 years. So like the PC, or like the newer edition, including PlayStation and PC, has sold more than the original. I guess that's not super surprising. I should have logged the time when we turned around. What was it? It was, oh, we anticipated getting there at like 13:20. So we have like 10 minutes left. Fun. We're ready to solve this puzzle. Kind of getting goosebumps again. I don't want to be too distracted by this other stuff, so we'll go ahead and focus back in. He's looking up. I guess this would be our indicator of like which direction he's traveling if we tell him to manually walk. I feel like we'd walk to the tower again. We'd probably see him. We'd of course see him turn, but we'd probably see him looking up. I wonder at what point he reaches the top of stairs, because when he comes out, he's walking straight, not up. I'm really hopeful. Again, if we need to spend a little bit more time on this, we will, and then I'll push RimWorld to another time. In an alternate reality, I'm streaming RimWorld, and this is in a picture-in-picture somewhere. I didn't happen to notice if we already walked past the part where the audio changed. Because I think these foot sounds are before and after the section. But I wasn't listening very intently a couple minutes ago. We're only 2 or 3 minutes away from emerging from the cave, I believe. In the meantime, I'm going to grab a drink. I'll be right back.